Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Newcastle. I'm talking on July the 2nd. This is out on July the 3rd. And it's Iain Mackay here, hosting myself. Yet another solo pod for me. Apparently it's scheduled for me just to be solo tonight, which I didn't know until very recently. So, but that's fine. There is quite a bit to talk about in terms of the wider transfer window and also Newcastle's pursuit of existing targets and perhaps the pursuit of some new targets. So we'll get straight into that. João Pedro, of course, already on the plane to America, probably already there in training, ready for his first game in the Club World Cup, Chelsea. He will be warming the bench alongside Nicholas Jackson and Rory Delap when Maresca put some other person to play up front. Who cares? He's gone. I don't care. There might well be, though, a immediate consequence in terms of the Newcastle squad, because when the João Pedro offer was out there, and we had high hopes, I'm sure, of signing him, Callum Wilson came off the list of Newcastle United squad players on the website. We then obviously had to sit and watch on Sunday while Chelsea did in 5 hours what we took 5 weeks not to do, as they signed João Pedro up. And I noticed that on the Newcastle United squad players, there's a brand new shiny picture of Callum Wilson that has come back into the squad list as number 9 in the squad, wearing his 25-26 Newcastle home shirt. Now, I don't think Callum Wilson gets all togged out in the new kit and has his photograph taken and gets put back onto the website if they aren't actually going to renew his contract. And if they're going to renew his contract, I suspect that means that there's no 60 million João Pedro or anybody else new forward coming in to support Alex Isak. I think that's going to be Callum Wilson. And Callum Wilson gets to the close season and stays injury free and gets back to even 90% of the sharpness he had 2 years ago, then he'll be a good backup. It's not very exciting, and it's a risk because we watched all of last year him not be able to get anywhere close to 90% of his sharpness from 2 years ago. The other consequence of that, and I'm hoping it's not the case, is that Wilson back in the squad, maybe being first switch, could restrict the number of minutes that we see our new hero in waiting, William Osula, to play. I've really enjoyed the cameos we saw last year. I think he's got something. He's certainly super powerful, super strong. It's no good saying he's raw year after year. He must be improving all of the time. If we have any faith in the ability of our coaches to improve players, and I think we do. And he's looked really good in that under-21 championship, playing for Denmark, scoring some goals, laying on some assists. Certainly looks like he would be an exciting man to come on after half an hour. After there's half an hour left, if Isak needed a bit of a break. But I think we'll have Callum Wilson sitting on the bench to choose from as well next year. That's just my hunch. Saves us quite a lot of money in the striker market, and maybe we could divert that to a right winger or a centre half, which I think we're all in agreement are the two areas which we really do need to strengthen this transfer window. Maybe I'm just making assumptions there. If you don't agree with me and you think there's some other areas that should be prioritised, please leave us a message in the comments below, and we're more than happy to discuss that later this week. No news on James Trafford. We're waiting for news on James Trafford. That deal was supposedly done ages ago. We're now well into July. I don't know if people are on holiday. What the hold up there is. Pay Burnley what they want and sign it and move on. can't have another saga on the job that was completed this time last year. That sounds ridiculous. But anyway, not a sniff of any news on that have I been able to find today. Maybe they're just saving it up for a weekend announcement, who knows. The other guy that we are obviously well after is Anthony Elanga. And I think losing Pedro has meant that we've been able to go back to Forest with an improved bid. I think the improved bid is reported as 50 million plus some add-ons. Now, I'm certainly not a Nottingham Forest fan or in the know or have any friends who are Nottingham Forest fans, but I know that they want at least 60 million for him. So again, why don't we just pay that 60 million and get a player in? The Langer and Trafford could be signed and in the squad ready for the kickoff of pre-season training next Monday. All well and good. Again, I really don't want a long, drawn-out saga over this one. Pay them the money. It does seem as if Elanga is quite interested. He's certainly popping up on lots of Newcastle players' social media. Agent Asuna has been dancing with him, apparently, on TikTok. And we saw Elanga asking why he hadn't been invited a few months ago when Asuna was hosting Isaac and others for some meal. If Elanga wants to come and we want to pay 55 and Forest wants 60, why are we not just pay 60 and make him come? Let's not wait another 2 or 3 weeks. I think that's invaluable time to get prepared for the new season. News today, of course, that Aston Villa are also interested in Anthony Elanga. Now, that's what's reported. That could be. It could also be that Elanga or Forest or somebody is trying to generate some sort of excitement to push Elanga's price up, maybe to put a bit of urgency behind Newcastle's offer. I'm spooked by it. Come on, get the money in. Pay the 60 million they want. Let's sign him. I think he'd be a great addition. He certainly is an improvement on Jacob Murphy, I think. Yeah, and his figures last year in the Premier League show that Murphy's figures were brilliant, but Elanga's figures were also brilliant. That is strength down the right. 90 minutes every game if we have those two, I think. Sign him up. I'm going to pause there. I think I'm going to pause there because that's our players that we've been going after for ages. I'm going to pause there and play the Bioniq advert. Come back with some new targets, reportedly new targets, particularly at the centre half position.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Marvellous stuff. Thanks, Ken, for that. Into part two. Sticking actually, first of all, with the right wing. Is it right wing? Is it right midfield? Is it right attacker? The Evening Chronicle. And I think they're just regurgitating what they saw on Give Me Sport. Are reporting that Newcastle are seriously considering a 45 million bid for Harvey Elliott from Liverpool, which of course was something that we flagged up last week would be a great move when we'd seen how wonderful he was in that Euro Under-21 Championship. I like Harvey Elliott. I think he's still got a lot of ceiling to reach. I think he's already good enough to take his place in Liverpool's first team. Why not? 45 million sounds a good price. I think get Elanga and also bring Harvey Elliott in would give us something in the attacking sense as well. I don't think it necessarily has to be an either or if we're looking at a midfielder as well. But I noticed that we were ahead of the curve in asking for that one, which is lovely. I've watched it here. The Chronicle reporting and Give Me Sport, who are always a bit dodgy. So we'll have to see that reported elsewhere. A far more believable report comes from Craig Hope in the Mail initially, saying that we are considering a £35 million bid for Leonardo Balerdi, an Argentinian centre-back from Marseille, who's 26, who was so bad when he first joined Marseille from Dortmund that he had one fan on hunger strike demanding that he leave the club. I think he had a couple of red cards, including one in his first game against PSG. But anyway, he's got that Argentinian grit that we would probably remember from Colaccini. So not something that we're unfamiliar with here at Newcastle. But he's played quite a lot for Marseille now, including in the Champions League. Price tag apparently 35 million. A fair half-price alternative to Mark Gahey, I guess. Which I understand. Gahey only wants to move to Liverpool. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. That would explain why he said no to Newcastle 187 times last summer. Or was it Crystal Palace pushing the price up? Who knows? Anyway, Leonardo Balerdi sounds like a legitimate target. It's certainly covering a position that we are short of. And at 35 million, it would certainly be worth pursuing. In addition to that, I have read that we are back looking at someone who I heard of maybe 2 years ago, maybe when we were signing Sven Botman, we were looking at this chap. A guy called Edmund Tapsoba, who's 26. Edmund Tapsoba. With a name like Tapsoba, he should be another goalkeeper, shouldn't he? Because he'll Tapsoba the bar. He's a Burkina Faso international. He's going to cost around about 42 million. He's another centre-back, currently with Bayer Leverkusen. If he's at Bayer Leverkusen, they're going to have plenty of Champions League experience. He's playing in one of the big leagues. Why not? If that's us as well. I think that came from who first reported that? Not sure. Can't remember. Sorry, I can't give a source to that. I don't like doing that. My bad. But there's two centre-backs there that apparently we are considering. And finally looking over to Europe rather than trying to pay the Premier League premium that there would be on any centre-back out of the Premier League. One centre-back who we won't be going after, and we've vaguely been linked with it because people assume we're going to move, playing for Everton as he was, and England. Jared Branthwaite has signed a new 5-year deal with Everton, so he's not going anywhere. And I think that might disappoint Manchester United. It might disappoint Chelsea. Does it disappoint Newcastle? Probably not. I don't think we were in for them. We definitely have been in for Gahey. He definitely looks like he only wants to go to Liverpool, and therefore it's right that we're opening up investigations over in Europe for centre halves. Yeah, whether that works or not, I'm not sure. There's not loads else, to be fair, happening in the wider transfer market or for Newcastle. So I just hope you've enjoyed that little update. It's a bit of a contractual obligation Thursday morning podcast, which I wasn't aware I was doing until very recently. I've found a little bit of news put out there, which is quite interesting. Fingers crossed the Alanga deal gets shifted on and we'll start seeing something moving. With João Pedro out of the way, does that mean that Callum Wilson's back? It may do. It may do. Fingers crossed for Alanga, and let's see what we do on Europe if we're going after some centre backs. My name is Iain Mackay. Thank you very much indeed for listening. That's all I'm going to do. No Zencastr advert tonight. It's too late. And we will be back tomorrow with another pod.
Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.